Hello, in this video tutorial, we will be talking about Unit 3, Activity 1. If we take a look at the announcement that I posted this morning, uh, Unit 3, Activity 1 is going to focus on researching interesting careers, and actually all of Unit 3 is going to focus on workplace communication. So hopefully at the ending of this unit, you will feel more comfortable applying for jobs, communicating with fellow employees and bosses and different people that you would have to communicate with in a workplace environment. And in this particular activity, you are going to learn how to research careers online and learn more about maybe a career that you would like to do after you leave St. Michael's, or maybe a career that you're already familiar with. You're going to learn how to make good notes so that you can make notes when you're researching. And you're going to hopefully learn how to properly apply for a job. And then at the end of this activity, you are going to research a specific job and you're going to fill out a job application. And as usual, the assignment, Journal 3.1, will be due on Friday. So if we open up Unit 3, Activity 1, we'll see that, again, the title of this activity is Researching and Applying for the Job. And it will start by introducing Unit 3, because Unit 3 will have a very different feel to it than Unit 1 and Unit 2. In Unit 1 and 2, we were focused really heavily on different types of reading and writing strategies. And now you'll still be reading and writing, but it will focus specifically on job-related and workplace-related communication. So if we continue on here, we'll get thinking about what is the right job for you and how can you search and learn about that job. And as we continue on here, it'll talk about some things that you can do through the Government of Canada. They have a number of quizzes. And when we say quizzes, I'm not talking about quizzes that you would be graded on, but they have quizzes and surveys that you can take to learn about your likes and dislikes and to maybe identify specific jobs or careers that you might be interested in. And if you go online, you can search Canadian Job Bank quizzes and you'll find a number of examples. Making a career research plan. We'll talk about the questions that you have to ask and the ideas that you have to think up and brainstorm before you research and look into a specific career. And you have an example here. You have an example of someone who has decided they want to be an early childhood educator, and they've kind of made a plan and come up with questions and ideas that they would like to look into to help them become an early childhood educator. Okay. If we go down further, again, you can see all the details that they look into, and you're going to be doing something similar to this for a job that you're interested in this activity. If we continue on here, speaking of which, you're going to be asked to research 2 occupations that you're interested in. Consider high demand occupations. Consider occupations that maybe are hiring companies that are hiring a lot of people in a certain occupation right now in Ontario, or consider a career that you maybe have experience in and that you would like to become involved in Canada, but choose 2 specific occupations, and then the idea is going to be to research and take notes on these occupations and try to find and answer these questions online. So for the 2 jobs that or the 2 occupations that you have chosen, what tasks would you have to perform when you do those jobs? What would be the typical hours? Are they typical 9 to 5 jobs, or are they jobs where you'd have to work late nights or weekends? So, what are the typical hours? What is the average pay for that particular occupation? Where is the job located? Would you have to relocate to another city? Or is this a job that you could get in Canada, pardon me, in Windsor? Or is it a job that would be out in the county outside of the big city? So, where would the particular jobs you're looking into be located? What are the positive aspects of the job? And this partly is your own opinion, but see when you do your searching, when you do your researching, see if you can identify specific positives that you like about the job, and then maybe some negative aspects that you don't like about the job. And then finally, what educational or background experience would you need to get this job? Okay. And so if you need some help with jot notes, with making notes answering these questions, there's a little explanation here about how you would use jot notes or point form notes. So the idea is to answer to research and answer these questions. And when I say research, 99% of the time we use Google. So feel free to go into Google and research occupations and try to find answers for these questions. I would suggest the Government of Canada Job Bank site would be a good place to start, because they're going to have explanations of lots of different occupations, and they will answer many of these questions for you. But when you find your answers, we're not answering these questions in full detailed sentences and full paragraphs. We're trying to make what we call jot notes or point form notes. We're just trying to jot down the most important information for our own benefit. Okay, you're not submitting this to me, and I'm not grading your spelling and grammar here. What you're trying to do and what you're practicing here is writing good short form notes for yourself, so that you can research and you can study things on your own in the future and not have to write too much and spend too much time writing out your notes. And so again, that's the goal here, is to research 2 occupations and try to answer these questions. This will come back at the ending of this activity, so do not skip this. Make sure that you're doing this in your own notes. Okay. Continue on here. They're going to talk about how to complete job application forms, and they're going to give you 2 examples that you can take a look at here, and you could click on these on your own, read through them and take note of them. There's 2 questions that you can think about. Which applicant do you think is more likely to get hired, Sarah or Corey? And describe some of the errors that you might notice in the weaker application. You're going to have to complete an application for me at the ending of this activity. So this is good practice to look at some examples of others who have completed applications. You have a little explanation here of application mistakes, and you can take a look at some things you want to avoid in a job application. And then you have an example here of a job application form that you could take a look at, and there's some sample words here that you can use to show how you would properly fill in an application. When we come down to the consolidation, we're going to put everything together. We're going to put the research that you have put into your occupations, and we're going to put what you've learned about job applications together. And so what you're going to have to try to do is you're going to, if I go down here further, and again, this is just some more explanation on job applications and what we've learned. But when we go down here, your task or your assignment for this week is a portfolio entry. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to online, it says online job banks are a good place to find job postings. Do an internet search to find an online job bank. I would consider using the Government of Canada's job bank, because that one will have information that's related to us, and you can help you find a job in Windsor, for example. So search a job posting that is related to an occupation that you researched previously in this activity. So previously in this activity, you were asked to research two occupations. So now what you're going to do is you're going to find a job on the Government of Canada job postings that relates or that is connected to that occupation. So if you looked up and I'll use myself as an example. If you looked up the occupation of teacher, okay, and you took notes on how to become a teacher and the pros and cons of teaching in Ontario. So if that was the occupation that you previously looked up in this activity, well, then maybe you can find a job posting for something in the field of education, something related to that occupation. Okay, so you may search for teaching itself, or you might look for something that you can get a job in that will help you become the occupation that you're interested in. So maybe you can find a job posting for a teacher's assistant or an early childhood educator, something that can maybe help lead you to become a teacher. Again, the purpose is to go onto a job posting site. Again, I would use the Government of Canada site, and to find a job posting that relates to the occupation, to one of the occupations that you researched previously. Okay. Then after you've found that job posting, you're going to record the job title and details about the job in a way that you feel comfortable. So you can write these notes out. You can write out jot notes on your own. You can type them out in Google Docs, but you're going to make notes once again about the job that you're looking to apply to. Okay. And then task 3, you're going to imagine that you're actually applying for the job. And maybe you might want to really apply for the job. Maybe you found something you're interested in. And to do that, you're going to complete the job application form provided right here. So you're going to click on the Google Doc, as you always do. And I'm going to have to make myself a teacher here. Just a second. Pardon me, make myself a student here. Okay. Sorry about that. So if I go back down to the assignment here, step 3, you're going to imagine that you're applying for the job that you found, and we're going to click on job application. And then you're going to click on the template. So again, what you're going to do is it opens up like this, and you click on the template. And then it's going to ask you to make a copy. And so we make a copy, as we always do. And then this is what you're going to fill out and submit to me. And so it's got the 3 steps: research. So you're going to do an internet research. Here, you're going to write the name of the job bank that you found the job and the name of the job title. Include any details or notes that you want about the job here. So anything that you learned about the job, maybe how much it pays, when does it start, what experience do you need to apply, anything that you can, the location of the job, anything that you can include about the job from your notes, you can put right here. And then last but not least, you're going to show me that you can fill out a proper job application. And so you've got, last name, first name, middle initial, date, street address, etc. To be honest with you, if you don't put your real street address and city and province and that, how do I know? So if you feel that you don't want to put your actual information here, that's fine, but still fill it out properly. Whether the information is true or not, I still want to see that you know how to answer each of these questions and that you understand how to fill out a job application. And then if we go on down here, you've got some yes and no questions that you show that you can answer. And you've got some education questions. So your high school experience, your post-secondary, And then you've got to fill out references. Again, feel free to put whoever you like in here. Whether the person is a real person or not is up to you. How do I know? But I do want you to fill this out in a professional way. So you don't want to list your mother, for example, as one of your sources, because that would not be a professional reference. So maybe a teacher, maybe someone you've worked for before, or someone that a place that you volunteered before and somebody that you worked with, something like that. But you're going to show that you can fill out, and then you've got previous employment, pardon me, right here. And then you've got a disclaimer where you would do your signature and date at the end. And so the purpose here is just simply to give you practice and to show that you understand a basic job application form. So you're going to fill this out for me. And as always, you're going to share it with me and you're going to submit it onto the course website. And that's it for this week. That is Unit 3, Activity 1. This is just the beginning of our look at workplace communication. Each activity for this unit will hopefully teach you a little bit more about how to find and how to keep a job in Canada. All right. If you have any questions, please send me an email. I'm always available for Google Meets or in-class visits. So if you need anything, just let me know. Have a good week.